Hello everyone and welcome back for episode 4 of Expanding Empire. I'm your host Aaron and I'm from the 6++ team. If you like what we do here, please go and like and subscribe on the main channel and leave us any comments that you have on the show and what we're doing, and please check out the other shows from Bugwatch from Davey and List Doctor from Tom, and obviously Ed's new one, UKTC and me. But this week we've got a couple of the high finishers for Tau, which is quite nice to see. We've got a big event taken down, and then we've got some interesting lists for next week. So without further ado, let's get on to the lists. First up, we have Jason McKenzie at Scorched Earth Open in the US. This is 76 players, and it was 6 rounds. The compulsory type was fast attack, and the sept of choice was Borkan. Now, before going into anything, absolute well done to Jason. He went 6-0 at this, coming first. It's the first time for a couple of weeks we've seen actually a Tau Army take down a decent size event. So congratulations from the start. Jason's list was very nice. HQ slots had Commander in Cold Style Battlesuit with Precision of the Hunter, a Fusion Blaster, High Output Burst Cannon, the Honor Gauntlet for some serious punch in combat, the Shield Generator to keep him safe, and then the Tau Flamer, which turns into the Thermoneutronic Projector to make him even scarier in combat as well. One of the things I have started to see, we'll see it in a couple of other lists as well, across some of the Crisis suits, is there's starting to be a push into Fusion Blasters. I'm curious to see if this is because of the more armor we're seeing with Guard, and it's just backing up for that. But again, that's something that wasn't around for quite a while. We then have the Ethereal with the Sense of Stone and Wisdom of the Guides. He's carrying the Exemplar of the Montcar and has the Humble Stave, so it goes off on a 2+. And a couple of marker drones to suit as well. In the troops, we just have a single Breacher team and then 2 Kroot Carnivores. Elites we take on, and we've got a unit of 5 Crisis, all armed with cyclic ion blasters, burst cannons, and plasma rifles. And then this is really bumped up, like a very, very solid unit to try and get rid of. It's got the stim injectors as well as the Iridium battlesuit, and it also has 4 marker drones and 6 shield drones. So it's going to be a very stubborn item for your opponent to get rid of. Then following that, we've got the Firesight Marksman. Curious to know if this was just to be an exemplar of the Cayenne Monkey, or if they've actually found any utility from the sniper drones at all. It's also got Ortu's Lantern for the massive 6 marker lights that go out as well. Finally, in that fast attack, we've got 3 units of 4 Kroot Hounds, and then 2 units of Vespid Stingwings. Only 5s here, so I'm curious if it was for utility behind enemy lines, or potentially if Jason was taking the risk on doing battlefield data with them and just hoping to roll a 1 to 5. Also, which we haven't seen for a long time, is a couple of Tetras here, little scout speeders that run around with a little pulse rifles and marker lights, very mobile and can just zip around to try and get onto objectives for things like decisive action. In the heavy support, not a single Riptide to be seen here, just a unit of 3 broadsides, all with rail rifles and twin smart missile systems. Wondering if these are going to be coming on from reserve or not, because it's quite a good way to keep them safe and then pop them out and be able to get them an angle, because obviously they're very slow normally. Then we have a Hammerhead gunship with the railgun, and just the normal gun drones on this one, not the accelerated burst cannons, and then a Skyray gunship with accelerated burst cannons. So this is a very definitely a different twist on the list that we've seen recently, and with the Borkan set to having the ability to ignore invulnerables, I'm wondering if that's something that the Skyray gunship's been brought in for a bit more punch on the shots from that. But yeah, we haven't seen the Skyray much and too much of the Tetras going around, so this is a real nice to see that there's still innovation out there, and it's still a sandbox environment for us Tau players to look into and try and find ways to break the local meta, and it has worked brilliant for Jason, so congratulations Jason indeed. Next up we have Oscar Lazario, who's at Yaha Seido, the data slate, which is Spanish for the data slate is dead or something, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is in Spain, 32 players in 3 rounds. Oscar done exceptionally well as well. Went 3-0, not losing any games, but due to dropping a few points in one of the wins he got, he only ranked 3rd, but still on the podium, which is nice to see for Tau. So well done, Oscar. Oscar went with fast attack as his compulsory and has gone fast sight enclaves. He actually had Commander Firesight in the team as well, and then just the Cadre Fireblade, literally just to monkey the exemplar because not much else for him to do. Then we had Commander in Cold Star Battlesuit with Master of the Killing Blow. This is a trait we haven't seen a lot. This is the Farsight Enclave specific trait, and it's on a 6 to wound. You add -3 to the AP, and you also can't use any rules to ignore that damage, like wound caps, etc. So quite a interesting piece of tech to use. I wonder if it's just for the actual extra negatives on here, because it's got the airburst and fragmentation projector and a burst cannon and high out burst cannon. So it really adds to the ability to multiple shots, just being able to take out higher class infantry if you do hit those 6s. It's also got a plasma rifle on there, the solid image projection unit, and a marker drone. In the troops, we've got 2 units of breaches and then 10 Crew Carnivals. On the elite side, another unit of 5 crisis suits, all with burst, cyclic, and plasma. One of them's got the early warning override, and the leader's got the Iridium battle suit and the stim injectors. And this one's got 4 shield drones. So still pretty heavy on the shield drones, but not quite as heavy as the last list. But again, it's good to see we're starting to move towards, generally speaking, the sort of go-to seems to be like a one big blob of 5 that's really hard to shift for the crisis suits. We then got a unit of stealth battle suits with the homing beacon and 2 marker drones. So again, giving her the ability to turn on deep strike this if it's put into reserves first, and marker drones presumably just do a bit of utility after they've done that, or maybe to do a bit of retrieving battlefield data to make it a bit better for the roll of 5. In fast attack, 2 Crew Hounds, 2 units of 4 Crew Hounds. Again, we're seeing this just as a staple. They're just so cheap and so wonderful to be able to utilize to either push forward for behind enemy lines, or just run out onto objectives and not worry about them dying when you've got to try and get decisive action. Following that up is a Pathfinder team. They've got the Grav Inhibitor drone and the Pulse Accelerator drone. So the Grav just adds 2 to your charges when you're trying to get at them, and the Pulse Accelerator makes their weapons a bit more dangerous. Obviously, all with marker lights as usual, but there's 2 with an iron rifle here. Normally, we've been saying people take the rail rifles for that high hit into the elite infantry and the mortal wounds. I've not tried out the iron rifles myself, so it seems to have gone well for Oscar, and it's nice to see, again, a little bit of a difference in some of these lists and unit types. In heavy support, we've got 2 hammerhead gunships with double accelerated burst cannons and a railgun, and there's another hammerhead gunship that's got the accelerated burst cannons, railgun, and a seeker missile there for the cheeky last 5 points. Finally, we've got 2 dedicated transports of Devilfish, and just for the breaches to go in. Curious if this was to like aggressively push out for aerospace targeting relays, or if it's just to protect them and push out for aggressive denying of primary against the opponent. But again, nice to see this different type of list from Oscar, and very well done to you for going 3-0 and unlucky to only finish 3rd. Following that up, we go on to the lists of the week coming up. First up, we've got Filip Ivanovic at Midcon Grand Tournament over in Denmark. 83 players and 5 rounds. The compulsory type here that Filip has gone for is elites, and the set choice is Tau. So in these HQ slots, we've gone for Commander and Cold Star with Precision of the Hunter, Fusion Blaster, High Outburst Burst Cannon, Missile Pod, and then the Nova Surge Plasma Rifle, and the Solid Image Projection Unit. Again, seeing this Fusion Blaster come in, and the Nova Surge is the one that ignores in-button, so interesting to see that pop up. I'm wondering what that tech is for. I know it sounds good, but I find personally paying 40 points for a one-shot gun that is only damage 3, ignores an in-button, I can't quite see the benefits of taking it. But then I haven't tried it, so it's all theory in my head for that point. Then following that up, they have Commander Shadowsun with Exemplar the Coyote, obviously, with the advanced drones, and then the Fletcher launchers, the 2 high-energy fusion blasters, and the light missile pods. Following that, we have Long Strike, 2 accelerated burst cannons and the railgun. strike in the list is it's so good to have a hammerhead that automatically hits on 3s and can go up to hitting on a 2. Really helps cement that ability to take out a difficult target if you need to. In the troops, it's just a single unit of the strike team, fire warriors. In elites, we've got a unit of 4 crisis suits here, armed with burst cannons, cyclic iron blasters, and plasma rifles, which again seems to be the going rate for the bulk of the crisis battlesuit units we're seeing coming out. This one has got 2 marker drones and 4 shield drones. We've followed up a very rarely seen in the wild, not just because of its interference package, but the Ghost Kill battlesuit is here with the flamers and the fusion collider. So keeping it on the shorter range approach, but again, seems to be a good way to go aggressively to either go after behind enemy lines and just target some of those pesky vehicles that we're seeing picking up, especially with the guard becoming more and more prominent in the meta. Also have a unit of stealth suits with a couple of marker drone, with 1 marker drone, sorry, and then the Shazray's got a fusion blaster. In fast attack, it's just a single unit of pathfinders, all with standard pulse carbines and marker lights. There's no additional heavy weaponry in this one, so just very dynamic units to jump in and out of cover with their strats and drop marker lights on 2s. Heavy support, we see a single Riptide with the smart missile systems and ion accelerators. Intrigued to see what comes of taking the smart missile systems. It doesn't seem as good to be hitting on 5s, etc., and the -1 not really playing into account because of the extra armor save. I've been tending to go towards the plasmas, but I suppose potentially with this onslaught of guard that's coming out with all of the mortars, this might be an additional way to try and help mitigate that. And then following it off, and another rarely seen one recently, which is awesome to see, Philip, is a Storm Surge with a massive cluster rocket system, destroyer missiles, the pulse blast cannon too. So, and again, the smart missile systems and flames. So it seems like just going for outright aggression on the overpopulation of threats and damage output for vehicles. And I wish you all the luck, Philip, at this weekend's event, and I'd be interested to see how you go. Rounding out the episode this week, we have Benny Johannesson at Games of Westeros in Sweden. 89-player event over 5 rounds. Benny has gone for heavy support and set choice of Farsight Enclaves. So in the HQ slots, Benny's gone for the Cadre Flybait with Exemplar of the Kaim, Advanced EM Scrambler, and a couple of marker drones. We're certainly seeing a lot more of the Advanced EM Scrambler coming in at the moment. I'm using it myself. It does the 12-inch deny bubble, and it also has for deep strikes, and it also has an extra piece of allowing you to stop a unit of yours from being affected by any enemy auras. This seems to be becoming more important as we see the encroachment of the guard and the Karsakin bomb that is able to deep strike with the Barbican's key and really take you out with a lot of mortal wounds, and also just handy for demons, which seem to be on the rise as well. Following that up, we have Commander Farsight with the Exemplar Montcar, and then all of his Dawnblade and high intensity plasma. I'd love to try and get this guy on the table, but I can't bring myself to get the current model and paint him up with the new one on the horizon, which is obviously very exciting. Hopefully see that in a couple of months. But it's just nice to have that bit of combat punch in the list as well, especially on top of having the next one in the list, which is the Commander and Cold Star battlesuit with Precision of the Hunter, a burst cannon, high output burst cannon, and then the Begal Hunter's plane and the thermonutronic projector. So having 2 decent outputs in combat really helps, I think, with your game plan for Tau, and it's exciting to see how this goes for Benny. In the elites, we have a unit of 5 crisis battlesuits, all with burst cannon, cyclic, and plasma. And then on the Shazray, we have the Iridium battlesuit and the stim injectors. There's just 1 marker drone on there, nothing else, no shield drones, so very bare bones list there, but as long as you keep it safe, it should be fine. We then have 2 units of crisis bodyguards, both just units of 2, and they are armed with burst cannons, fusion blaster. So certainly seems like a deep striking unit is going to try and drop in and just take out tanks, enemy tanks on the in just in one hit, and then if they do get taken down the following turn, it's only a cheaper unit of 2, and also it's dividing where your opponent's got to put their output. As we go into the heavy support, got a hammerhead gunship with the 2 accelerated burst cannons and a railgun. And then we have 3 Riptides. One of them has the Aarron with 2 plasmas and a target lock velocity tracker and early warning override. Then we have another one with the same output, but this has 1 shielded missile drone. And then we have the final Riptide with the 2 plasma rifles, the heavy burst cannon, and also another missile drone as well. I've not been finding the points for the missile drones myself. Curious as to what Benny feels to them over having a few more shield drones on these crisis bomb, but I suppose you've got the utility of being able to just take the hit at any major massive hits, say like off of the rail guns or the magma rail off of the Leagues of Votan, for example. Again, I think like overall we're seeing this nice like twist. This is pushing back into the triple Riptides again that we're seeing a lot, and we do seem to be going into just high elite shooting, removing all of the troops. As we can see in this one, there is no troops, and I'm wondering how this is going to play out, because my fear always is with the primary trying to actually cover that. But I guess if you just go all out aggression with these sort of lists and just blow your opponent off the table, then you can just pick up the primary in turns 3, 4, and 5. Good luck to our competitors this weekend, and again, thank you for turning up and watching or listening to this. If you've got any suggestions or comments, etc., we're always happy to help it and to hear from you. And as I said before, please go like and subscribe to the channel. But without further ado, have a good week, everyone.